If you're listening to this, you needed to hear it. I know I needed to hear it. I know I needed to hear it when I was starting my fitness journey. This is what I needed to know when I started. Focus on the feeling, not the physique. Disclaimer from Editing Anya. This is a very candid conversation of a few of the things that I went through when I was going through struggles with eating and body image and that whole topic. And I know at some points I was ready to hear about this and hear other people's perspectives, and I know at some points I really was not. So if you're not really at a point to be hearing things like this, that's totally fine, and you can revisit this later. I just know that for me, the most valuable thing was finding people online and in person that I could actually relate to, because this is a very sensitive topic. I know that when I was listening to this, I always wanted to hear exact caloric amounts. I wanted to hear weights. I wanted to hear what foods people ate. If you don't, that is 100% completely fine. And I would just encourage you not to continue listening to this and listen to all my other podcasts, and I'll see you on the next one. However, if you think you are in a place to be listening to this and this could be helpful, all I want is to help somebody out by sharing my experience. That's what all of this is for, and especially this episode. If you know me in real life, you know that this is a very sensitive topic for me, or it can be sometimes. So I totally get if you pass up on this one. However, if you are ready to dive into this, food, body image, perception of ourselves, fitness, physique, all of that, keep listening, and I hope you enjoy. The countless podcasts and books I read and everything, I was trying to get a grain of relief from the really tough feelings that I was having about body image and food and the thought process around it. A certain physique is praised in our society for men, women, and everyone in between. And if you're listening to this, you're probably growing up in the same society that I am. And so there's this interesting part of fitness where you are praised for looking a certain way. However, people only see what's on the outside and then they don't see what's going on mentally. And I know how hard it can be mentally, but then on the outside, you're being praised for how you look. I'm going to be talking about my experience, which is the experience of some other women I've talked to where we want to be smaller. One of the beauty standards in our society is for women to be small and thin, and that's where I come from. I also know women who struggle to eat enough and they want to eat more, so that's not my lived experience, but I do know that that is obviously very real and people go through that, and I would encourage you to keep searching for people who relate to you, because that's what helped me the most, is finding people whose story that I could relate to. And it would just absolutely fulfill me so much if I could even provide 1% of relief or some kind of relatability. And I just want you to know that no matter how long you've been struggling with this, you will find a way out. You will find the balance that works for you. I have a firm belief that you have to find both sides of the extreme sometimes to find the middle. I do want to say a disclaimer to this because this is a sensitive topic, and sometimes I was not in a place to hear these kind of things when I was going through it. So please be mindful. If anything I talk about right now is making you feel a type of way, that is, of course, not my intention. And so you can just listen when you're in a different state of mind. I was definitely there. However, I want to do my best today to just share how I was able to find some relief from never feeling like it's enough and always wanting to be leaner. So growing up, I had no issues with this. It only became something on my mind after I started my full-time job, and I met somebody with a six-pack, and I thought it was really attractive. And so I wanted to be also attractive, so I wanted a six-pack. That's where I started. It was very physical focused. I got a six-pack, okay? I got to that state, but you know what's crazy is when I was very lean and I had that physique, I actually never even really recognized it. I could see it in pictures. Okay, I look lean, I see some definition, but it never felt as though it was enough. And it was because I was focusing on the physique and not the feeling behind it. If you've been there, you know, it just messes with your head. It just messes with your head. And so if this could be some kind of grain of hope that you can get into a more balanced state of mind for you, that's what I really want to transmit here. There's this concept that behind anything that we really want, whether that's a certain car, certain brand of clothes, or a physique such as a six-pack, there's really a deeper feeling behind it that we're chasing. And so when I was chasing this six-pack, now that it's 2.5 years later and I can really unpack it, when I dig down into my 5 whys, the first why I wanted to have a six-pack is, 1, I found it attractive in somebody else. Number 2, Why did that motivate me? Because I wanted to be attractive to others. I wanted other people to get the same feeling that I got about this person. And then I asked myself why again. And it was because then I feel like I could get their approval. Why did I want their approval? Because then I would feel good enough. And lastly, why did I want to feel good enough? Because I could feel at peace existing. I could feel at peace just being me. So yes, I wanted that six-pack, or I thought that I wanted that six-pack. But really what I wanted was peace. Peace being myself. And I wanted somebody else to accept me for how I am. That took 2.5 years, you guys. And that was beyond my conscious awareness of what I was doing all of this for. I went through turmoil of body image and getting lean. And as I've said, it never felt like it was enough because I shortcutted my way into getting a six-pack. I have 100% changed my lifestyle for the better. I think I'm going to stay healthier for longer, have more mental clarity. I feel the best I ever have, you guys. I'm 25 years old. I feel the most capable physically, the most clear mentally. I feel so good. I feel so grateful to be able to say that. So I just want to come on here and share a little bit of how I was able to get there. This is such a work in progress. I don't want you to hear this and think I have it all figured out 100% of the time. Of course, I am still learning things. However, I do feel as though I'm finally in a place, and it's just crazy because I'm so grateful to be able to say that I'm here now. And if there's one thing I can say is 1, give yourself enough time to work it out. And 2, just keep trying different things. Keep learning. What you're doing now by listening to this is exactly what I did and what I would recommend you keep doing, because little mantras and little things you learn are going to accumulate in your brain over time. And for me, there wasn't one thing that just fixed my whole mindset about this. It was a collection of books I read. I'll link them in the bio of this video, podcasters, YouTube videos, talking to people. I had about 3 friends that I could really be candid with, and that really helped me too, because it was so discouraging when I would reach out to people that I saw as mentors and they didn't go through these same struggles, and I felt really alone at first. And for a long time, I didn't really tell many people about this. It was way too painful, and there was no way that I was going to be able to talk about it on something like this. However, when I did start talking to people, it did not fix it overnight. Okay, there were so many phone calls that didn't really feel like they were going anywhere. However, over time, they all accumulated. And so I hope that by listening to this, maybe this can put a couple ideas in your head to try to help you feel better. First is dig into those 5 whys to try to understand what fundamental feeling that you're chasing here. It's going to take time to figure that out, and that could change over time. For me, I realized it was just really, I wanted to be at peace existing. So I wanted to feel enough, and I wanted to feel loved for exactly who I was. So sure, I love how I look now, but I love who I am nowadays even more. There are no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts to the mentality. I shortcut my way into having abs. I ate 1,300 calories a day, and that never felt as though it was enough. Now I look back on those pictures, I remember how I felt, and I could recognize that sure, I had definition. However, you guys, the mental side was not there. I didn't feel good, okay, because I was eating so little. I was so irritable, out of energy. I remember I was going to go see somebody on a trip, and I really wanted to look a certain way. So I ate so little, and my motivation for that was how I thought that they would look when they saw me. And that was even on me, of putting that narrative that, them seeing my body in a certain way would make them feel a certain way towards me. It's not on them at all. That's how twisted my mind was. I could justify not eating very much because of the way that I thought that they would look at my body. And I get it. Nowadays, I can hold myself in a higher regard. And sure, the comments people make to me are great. However, the reality is that nobody sees the majority of what I do. They see my results, and that's great. However, I'm the only one that lives with me every single second of every single day, and quite literally sees everything and has experienced everything I have. And just to know the place that I was at to the place to come now, it makes me emotional, because I was at this gym a year ago and I was crying when I was lifting because I didn't like how my physique looked, even though I was really similar to how I am now, but just mentally, I'm in a completely different place. Nobody else sees that. I'm just trying to transmit that if you're in that really deep, dark place, I've been there. I've been in a similar spot, and I know other people that have been there, so you're not alone, and that's what I'm trying to tell you now. Okay, so you're not attractive because you have a six-pack. You're attractive because of the time and energy and discipline you put into yourself. How you do one thing is how you do everything. When I see other people that are fit, one, I just hope that they're healthy mentally, because I've been shredded, but I know I was not healthy mentally. So whenever I see anybody that's shredded, the only thing that I hope is that I hope they're good mentally, and I hope that that's a sustainable body fat percentage for them. I was down at 16.2 body fat percentage. That was not sustainable for me, but you bet that I got comments about how I looked. Okay. But nobody knew what was going on in my head. So that's the first thing. When I look at somebody, I hope that they are just happy and healthy mentally about where they're at with their physique. Even when you feel good for a little bit, you can come back down. And I always say this, life is a sine wave. Appreciate the moments that you're up. When you're down, know that it's going to come back up. Focus on the character of becoming that person who has abs. I'm using abs because that's what I was trying to chase at first. If you shortcut by not eating a lot, it's never going to be enough. Guys, I was 120 pounds, lean as can be, and I always wanted to get leaner. What you have to do is build the character of that person who is the type of person that has abs. Become that person with the habits that naturally results in abs or whatever you want. And also, a big thing is I had this assumption that my body should look a certain way because I was able to get to that state. I assumed that I should be able to stay at that super lean physique. That is not true. Think about the assumptions that you're holding about yourself and your body. You don't need to be tiny if that's what your body is not meant to do. Release yourself from this expectation that if you are able to get down to a really low body fat percentage, that might not be sustainable for your body, and that is okay. When you do have a radical transformation, one that you can actually notice, you can think that that's how your body should be all the time. What you need to do is go through trial and error to figure out what that sustainable balance is for you. I would get so frustrated with myself because I was struggling with this 2.5 years, consuming all of that content, and I was still going through so many waves of ups and downs, feeling good and then bad. I was thinking, why am I still struggling with this? I had to find both the caloric intake and the physical activity level that I can do every single day. And the physical activity, I always loved physical activity. It was never an issue for me to go to the gym. It was really the food side of it that was really hard for me. It wasn't the type of food, it was the quantity of food. And I would feel guilty if I ate more than what the number said. And so nowadays, the balance that I have found that works for me, if this is an idea for you, is I track Monday through Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, I don't track. I still eat all the same foods, especially when I'm living alone. I know what my caloric intake is. It's about 2,000 calories and 130 grams of protein. That's what I track. Protein is the biggest thing. If I want more food, sometimes your body needs more food. I'm here to tell you, sometimes you need a little bit more food to feel energized. So use it wisely. If I want to have some more, I eat something really high in protein. So egg whites, turkey sticks, that's my go-tos if I want to eat more. And then if you need energy, so before my runs, I'll eat an apple because that's carbs. All of this, you learn a way to see food as a tool for what you want to do. So if I'm about to go run 10 miles, I'm not going to eat an avocado because I don't really need the fats. I'm going to eat an apple because I need the carbs. I need the quick energy. If you are struggling with this for a long time, please just keep trying. Just keep doing it. I just had to prove to myself long enough. Honestly, thank goodness I wasn't worried about this in college because I had so much on my plate. I only started thinking about all this after I started my full-time job. It comes with that everyday discipline that is sustainable for you. Right now in this point in my life, it is sustainable for me to track Monday through Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday I don't, while eating the same standard set of foods. Now I have a menu of foods in my head that I eat, okay? And another thing is the social aspect too. It's Thanksgiving, I'm around people, and my food choices are so personal. I'm not here to push my diet or anything on anybody else because you got to figure it out for you. I'm here to give you my ideas and what works for me. I have certain foods that I eat and certain foods that I don't. It's easier for me to be 100% of I don't eat this food than just to have a little bit of it. I have clear boundaries of the foods that I do and I don't eat. What I do eat though, I eat a lot of Greek yogurt, I eat almonds, I eat apples, I eat salmon, tuna. I want to think in an abundance mindset. I eat different foods. And at this point, I have proven to myself that that's what works for me. If you are accomplishing your goals and you feel good, don't listen to other people's comments and just stick to it. I get that social aspect. It's tough and people will make comments saying, oh, you eat so this. And as long as you feel good mentally, because trust me, I've not eaten very much or been super selective with foods and I was feeling so bad mentally and I was coming from a place of fear and scarcity. So I'm just here to tell you that there is a reality where you can look at food and it's not so guilt inducing. And how you do that is you prove it to yourself. Nowadays, there's no way that any would have a problem with the way that I eat and work out and everything I do, because I feel the most physically capable that I ever have. Why would you take advice from people who can't accomplish the things as you? And this is what works for me in my current state. And as women, our bodies go through so many changes in our life. I'm a 25-year-old female, okay? If you are any demographic other than me, it is so personal. And I perfectly recognize that when I have a baby in the next 10 years, my definition of what is healthy is going to be different. Right now, my definition of my health, you guys, my health is 12,000 steps a day, 25 push-ups at least a day, lift every other day, run on the off days, 2,000 calories, 130 grams of protein. I think that's it. That's what I do. And that's what works for me. That is sustainable. I've been doing that for so long now. That's just who I am. And the thing about it is consistency is king. Or queen. Consistency is queen. Consistency increases your luck surface area. And what this means is that you can't hit a PR in the gym if you don't go to the gym. You can't bust out 19 miles if you don't start to go out for 3. What happens is when you go every single day, there's some days where you just surprise yourself and you do way more than you were expecting, or run faster than you were expecting. And those moments are so beautiful. All you have to do is just show up to give the opportunity for those things to happen. So if you are struggling, just do it long enough to prove to yourself that you can be this type of person. And think about at the core of what kind of person do you want to be? Sure, you want to be a person with a 6-pack. What does a person with a 6-pack do? I like the feeling of being the person who wakes up early and gets all the things that are a priority to me before the rest of the world wakes up. I'm home right now and I wake up at 4:15 so that I can do my homework problems and get my fitness done and then spend the rest of the day with my family. Look at yourself from a third-party perspective and think, what kind of person does this, and be that person. Life is not about finding yourself. We create ourselves. And guess what? Your physique falls out in that. How I look, that is just the very last sliver. I'm telling you, it's the things that I do every single day. It's the mindfulness I approach every single meal with. Every single day I know what physical goals I want to accomplish. This is just how my body's going to look with the habits that I have. Think about your concept of should. Are your assumptions about yourself actually detrimental? I assume that I should be so lean, but who is saying that you should be this lean? Think about the habits that are the most healthy for you. Moving a lot, getting out in the sun, reading, learning. However your physique falls out of that, that's all you can do. You have to find your own balance and your own definition of healthy. Trust me, it took me over 2 years to figure out what that looks like, and I was so frustrated. And a note about body image and standards. A lot of men I've talked to want to be bigger, and a lot of women I've talked to want to be smaller. I know that this can be flipped. I have girlfriends that struggle with eating enough. I know that that's that side of things. Think about that fundamental feeling that you want from being bigger or from being smaller. If you are a man and you're wanting to be bigger, is it because you want to be able to protect your woman? Think about other ways that you can protect her. Can you emotionally protect her? Can you walk on the side of the street that is next to the cars and she's on the inside? Really, you can start practicing that feeling anytime. I focused on being radiant because I know women in person and online of all sizes, and they are radiant. And that's really what I was trying to go for. I wanted to be this radiant, beautiful woman. And that is focusing not only on the body, but on the mind and the soul. And it is size independent. And trust me, I've been there when it's so discouraging that it seems as though nobody's relating to you. Keep trying to find people that relate. Keep trying to find people that you can open up to and listen. Find people with similar stories as you and who have felt similar to you. And it's okay if you've been on both extremes. The extremes are really hard to live in. However, you gotta find both sides of it. You gotta be really low and really high up to find that middle ground that is actually sustainable for you. And literally all you can do at the end of the day is keep learning. And if you keep learning and trying to figure this out for yourself, you can't be mad at yourself. That's all you can do. Just keep showing up for yourself, keep learning. This is a topic that means a lot to me, and I'm sure I'll dive into more. I hope that this can just give you even 1% of hope that things can change and mindsets about this can change. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.